check, good. So I'm Max Duran, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. This is a part of our wonderful special series with Skills Canada competitions, and we are interviewing all the executive directors of the provinces and territories of this country. We're having such a good time here in sunny, beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan, which is the host of Skills Canada's competitions this year. Today I got Courtney Donovan here, who is an old friend, fantastic lady, and a real comrade, bro. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah, second time on the show here, like within a few weeks.
I know. I feel famous now.
Well, you are, but you were famous before.
Maybe just in New Brunswick, but we're spreading out. We're spreading out. We're getting out there.
So let's talk a little bit first about the team. How many people are here from New Brunswick? How much staff? What do you got going on?
So we have 45 team members here, 42 competition areas, which is by far the most people we've ever sent. I think I
noticed the walkout. You guys had a big team.
We do have a big team, and that's not trainers.
Yeah.
We actually only have 3 trainers here with us. It's mostly chaperones because, again, our high school delegation is so large.
Yeah.
We have 25 secondary students here with us this year. When I first started, we were bringing 10 in 8 areas.
I remember one year there was like 3.
Yeah, so we've really expanded, and the growth in the competition areas at the secondary and post-secondary level. And for me, that was really important because these are all areas and education that's obviously offered in our province, but by us not participating, those students in those careers or just in those programs in general didn't have that same opportunity. So it was really important to me to kind of find them and link them to the competitions. Mm-hmm. There's still some we don't participate in, but we're in far more.
You want to fill those gaps.
Oh, I'm going to fill them all. I'm, even the ones that we don't even teach in the province. I'm like, okay, how do we get that industry in the province so I can then compete, Well,
and that's an interesting thing that you bring up is that not all provinces compete in all things. I think there's a general thought that this is skills. Here's the number. Here's all the competencies you can compete in, and every province is going to do it all. But that's just not reasonable. It's not doable, right?
And it's not just that. It's, again, the industry. If the program isn't there or the industry isn't in your province, how do you find
like shipbuilding in Saskatchewan, right?
Exactly, right? How do you make those connections? Mm-hmm. And again, some of the high school programs that or competitions that we're competing in this year, we don't have those programs in New Brunswick at the high school level. So for us to be able to, have someone here, it's making sure that industry is engaged so that those competitors can actually train with industry because the program's not in their school.
Yeah. Now, there's been a lot of investment in New Brunswick in the last few years. And, sometimes you see investment dollars get announced in provinces and you're like, oh, yeah. But I feel, and maybe because I love the Maritimes and maybe because I have such a great relationship with you, I know what's going on in New Brunswick, but there's been some definite forward movement in New Brunswick in terms of trades programs, the colleges, the new schools, the new training centers. I feel like there's just things blowing up all over New Brunswick.
Yeah. I mean, there always has been. We are, whether it's skills or I think New Brunswick as a whole, I continually feel like we're the best kept secret.
Yeah.
I have the privilege of going into the high schools and going into the colleges and seeing the programs and the passion that exists, and again, the industry that people have no idea that are there, and not only what those industries supply to the province, but the country and the world. And we're so bad about bragging ourselves up. We're so bad at it, Max.
Just so bad at being Canadian. Like, come on, brag.
I know. So that's where, again, I get really passionate about is figuring these things out because I want people to know.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about this, the rhetoric in New Brunswick for a very long time, and it's still a little bit, is that there's nothing here.
That's right. You got to leave to make money.
You have to leave. You have to, and not just money, you have to leave for your education.
Right.
And Nao is one of those New Brunswickers that left for all that. I'm so adamant and passionate about making sure other New Brunswick students know that that's not true.
Yeah, you can do it all right there.
You can do it all in your home. You don't have to leave. I've been around the country. I've been around the world. We have it great in our province, and there are so many opportunities. So again, making sure that everyone knows about those opportunities. And if I can help in any way create more opportunities, then obviously,
Yeah,
That's
you
the-
will.
That's my dream.
Yeah, making those. You're a connector.
Yeah.
You're like that awesome piece in Lego that fits everything.
I try. I try. Whether it's again my sport background or the coaching background,
Yeah.
and again, I think growing up too, I was not exposed to the trades. I come from a family of all tradespeople. My dad's a welder, my mom's a hairdresser, my uncle's in HVAC,
Mm-hmm.
and careers and have been there 40, 50 years, and I wasn't exposed to any of it.
Yeah.
So even now, understanding those careers and that nothing can operate without the trades.
Yeah.
We hold the doctors on such high pedestals, but they can't do their job without any of the trades.
Yeah.
The hospital wouldn't even be there, let
No,
alone the
they wouldn't even have a
equipment.
scalpel to use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, again, I feel so fortunate that I've been almost able to marry those two parts of my life.
Yeah.
And
Well,
feel
let's talk about that because that's one of the things I wanted to do with the EDs specifically is get the backstories, like the origin stories, because everyone gets in the skills through different ways, right? Some through the trades, some not, right? So how did you end up in this role?
So my mother has been, yeah, of course, my mother. She has been a hairstyling NTC since 2009, I think. She actually, started as a judge. And when she went to a Skills Canada national competition to judge in hairstyling, New Brunswick didn't have a competitor. And at that time, she then proceeded to call the ED and say, "This is who I am. Why don't we compete? I'm going to make us a competition." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I don't know who this random woman is,
Yeah,
but sure."
But okay.
So really, she started and would come home and talk about it every year. And my father and I, we don't know what you're talking about. You leave for a week, have fun.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
It's just
And-
probably like there's so many welders there. Like
And we're still like, we don't really know. And again,
Yeah.
this is and I totally get it, because skills is the strangest thing to try and explain to someone if you've never been here, right?
Right.
And fully understand the greatness of all of this.
Yeah.
And so anyways, a job posting came up after New Brunswick had been, granted hosting the 2016 National, and it was just for a 1-year marketing position. So I applied, and
Was that your background, marketing?
yeah, mostly sports.
Sports marketing.
Sports, that was very much my background with
Mhm.
the Senators and Soccer Canada, and then helping start the National Basketball League
Basketball,
of Canada, and in, mostly in Moncton, and get the team up. And anyways, applied for the job, ended up getting it. Started in January 2016 with no real expectation. The first few months, it was fine.
What was the state of the New Brunswick skills team at that time? I mean,
We were 20 people, and that was the
Yeah.
largest team we'd ever had, and
Yeah.
it was because it was in New Brunswick.
yeah, okay,
Still very small
yeah.
compared
And what
to
about
some of these-
staff wise?
staff.
on the
It
back
was
end?
it had been one person since 1998.
Yeah,
I was the second ever staff, again starting in 2016.
yeah. Wow.
And I had no expectation. I again did not know what this world was. Our provincial competitions, were 1 or 2 at a time on weekends. No one came. There was no, I say, hoopla or any
mhm.
excitement, and definitely no one paying attention.
yeah,
And then, we build up to the national that year and all this setup, and it was just the setup phase, Max. And I remember running around like a crazy person and looking at somebody from Alberta saying, "This is amazing. Why don't we do this provincially?" And he looks at me, he goes, "Literally everyone else does."
yeah.
I'm like,
All the time.
"Okay." I'm like, okay, so I'm really late to the game.
Yeah.
But once we, were in that first national, and again, I knew before we got through the setup phase that I was never going. And I stayed in that role until November of 2019, and then I moved into the executive director role. And now we are a team of 5 members and 2 contract positions, a full board that is extremely active.
Mhm.
It is representative of education, but also heavily industry and all industry.
So in the 6 years you've been with it, what have been some of the biggest success stories you can see in your tenure?
The growth and just people knowing, right? The more the team grows, that's more youth I get to impact. Our provincials are bigger. We went from having these provincial competitions that no one attended to now the largest in Atlantic Canada. They're 2-day, there's conferences. Again, you guys came this year. There's thousands of kids that get to walk through, see the competition, plus all those students that now have that platform provincially that we did not have for, 20 plus
And even
years.
just for the kids to see the opportunity
Yes.
that they may not even know existed, right?
And teachers and parents, like even
Mhm.
the amount of parents we have here this year, we've never had that.
Yeah.
So the interest is starting, and again, not that we're late to the game, but we're catching up.
Mhm.
So growing the team in itself, I say is a big piece
Yeah.
because again, I want students here.
Yeah.
But programming, we didn't do programming before,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
even introducing manufacturing into the schools, that has been an
Huge.
incredible
Yeah.
thing for us to do. Starting
And so needed out there.
so needed.
Yeah.
And even, a lot of the in-school programs specifically for young girls, bringing in, all the 9s and 10s and introducing them to, the welding shop, not only in their school, but making sure it's linked to careers and bringing in industry in their specific area.
Yeah.
So again, really helping to make that change.
What about the sponsors? Because that's something that I see lots with lots of the different provinces. Some provinces, 1 or 2 sponsors, and you go to another province, they got 100 sponsors. And that's a big part because there is limited funding, there is limited resources, and getting that sponsor network is huge to be able to grow. How's that changed in your 6 years?
So we had none when I started.
0's not a good number.
So I kid, like, this is so when I first started, our all of our funding came from the federal government. So when I again first started, my position was the first bigger or larger investment from our provincial government, which again has continued to grow. Skills Trades New Brunswick in New Brunswick is fabulous. We love working with them. But then the industry, it was again important to me. What are we training these people for? So the more we engage them, again, it's to offer that direct connection, but they also then want to support us, right? Because they see the good work we're doing.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of partners now.
Yeah.
We've started even a bit of a tour war in New Brunswick. They've got some stuff going on. So, yeah,
and then the kids are connected.
They are.
And, like, these sponsors and supporters, they're basically investing into their own workforce.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they're going to poach all the best kids, 100%.
Yes. And that's what we want.
And that's good. Yeah.
That's exactly what you like. Come to the competitions. Come through your,
you always want to be taken in the draft.
Always.
Doesn't matter who at the end of the day.
No, and again, that's really important for me to make sure those partners are there and engaged because I want them to have the best, right?
Mhm.
I don't, especially our secondary students that are so engaged, I want them to make those connections before they, think they have to go somewhere else because there isn't a future for them in the trades.
Like, it's too hard to find a job here.
Right.
Yeah.
I want them to naturally have those connections and be, it's, easier to go to university and get a business degree. Well, why didn't we continue on that welding path, right?
Yeah.
So I think again, we have, I want to say at least 50 partners now in New Brunswick. At least I don't even want to start naming them because I will forget. But it's that mutually beneficial for both sides. That's so, again, like you said,
And a worthy investment.
I tend to be a bit of a connector, whether I mean to or not, but it's just so important for me because again, the more we can do that, then we're not losing people through the gaps or whether we're talking about duplication or wasted funds. It's how do we build all the team bigger? Again, whether it's partners or actual kids.
So on our last podcast, we talked a little bit about how, we went to Kazan together. We were in Russia. I love that you shared that picture. That was a beautiful picture.
It was. I completely forgot we took that,
but
it was a good find.
But now, like, in your ED chair, you've been to a Worlds, right? Even I don't think New Brunswick had anyone attend that Worlds that year. Did
automotive service? It was our first and only ever competitor so far in automotive service.
Okay. So you go out there with one person with Team Canada to another country to compete at the Worlds, and I mean, our nationals, no joke. It's big. It's awesome. Like, this is huge here. But Worlds.
Kazan was 78 hectares, if
Yeah.
I recall.
It was, they actually built new buildings just for that. Like, it's Olympic level. It's Olympic level.
And Abu Dhabi in 2017 was the same thing.
Yeah. So how do you bring that experience back now? You weren't ED at that time, right? Now you are. How do you bring that experience back into this realm to help either, A, support your province and be like, you can get to this level, or B, be more proactive on us attending or hosting that stuff?
So there's this theme with me again, a little bit of a connection. For this competition actually is probably the first time we've had people purposely train, trying to make Team Canada.
Good.
And
you have to get to that level.
You have to.
Yeah.
But again, it's through the partnerships. It's through the UA 213. It's through JTC. It's through our New Brunswick building trades unions.
Yeah.
And again, through Skilled Trades New Brunswick that we're able to support these people. And that's what I want to continue to grow, right? And because again, it's that opportunity not only for that student who's trying to get these accolades and reach that level, but then everyone gets to win.
Yeah, everyone comes up like
everyone.
A rising tide raises all ships.
Yes, his community, his high school, that is a win that everyone is going to get to celebrate. So that's been really important to me, again, to get that messaging out there, or just not even messaging, just understanding of what the opportunity really is. You know, we throw money at athletes and don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And we need sport. That's not where I'm going with this, you know. But when, again, the pandemic happened, entertainment, sport,
the world
shut down.
Stopped except for the trades.
Except for the trades. So again, we need these people to be excelling. We need them to our infrastructure, just the safety of the world. So again, to be able to give them this platform and then bring those partners in that wouldn't typically get an opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
That's so important to me.
That's awesome. Now, yourself, you know, when you look at the path that you had to get into this, you come from a sports background, you do a little bit of work with skills, you get, like I said earlier, you dip your finger into the pool. Next thing you know, you're swimming because it just draws you in. Now, what skills have you learned? What has skills taught you about, you know, your own personal development?
So much.
Yeah.
So,
I've
God,
been stumping people on this question. Yeah.
One, I didn't know that I wanted to work with youth this much.
Yeah.
You know, I had my high school principal actually told me one day, he goes, "You're going to be a teacher." I said, "Absolutely
Yeah.
not."
You're like, oh, gross.
Absolutely not. I can see me coaching, but I will never be a teacher.
Yeah.
But doing this type of work, I get to have that, I don't want to say same effect because teachers do so much. But I get a glimpse of it.
You have a connection there. Yeah.
Yeah. And helping people is just so important to me. And again, this job, as we talked about it a little bit before, and I will not, but it has been a crazy 7 days leading up, like insane. Probably out of the last almost 10 years, the last 7 days threw me for a loop. But again, you're going for the kids.
Well, and it's honing your skills. You're an executive director. This is a skill set, right?
Yeah. You know, being adaptable. Because that's all this is. At the end of the day, the only thing that really matters to me is those competitors' experience or just youth having an experience at one of our events
and
provincially.
The volunteers and the NTCs and PTCs. You want them all to have a good time.
Everyone, right? Yeah. Because this is, again, even those people, they're typically in the back of shops and they're so passionate about their trade or technology area, but they still don't get that same opportunity. And to see those volunteers just get so excited to support the future generation and students. Yeah. And you get to be as an ED, a small part of organizing any of that.
You see those organic connections happen where it's, the 18-year-old and the 50-year-old. And they would have never run into each other just in random. But then you see them connecting and imbuing that. Like, I mean, the kid's giving the older person energy and life again. And the older person's giving back experience and mentorship. That's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yes. Like, again, if I start telling you too many of the messages the kids have been sending the last couple of days, I will definitely cry because I am a crier. But oh my God, Max, you probably will get me at some point this week. But it's, again, when you're getting messages from people and you're just trying to do your job, and then you get a message from a student that just tells you that you've changed their whole life. Again, I probably will cry. You've changed their whole life trajectory.
Yeah.
And
just you being you. Yeah.
It's
it's impactful.
It's been again
doesn't that invigorate you? Doesn't that fill your cup?
Yeah, and I don't know how I could ever leave. People are always like, "What's your next step?" I'm like, "What do you mean next step? Like here? What am I like? What projects am I working on next? Because I'm not leaving." Sorry, guys.
Succession plan?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Like our old president John Oates in Russia. I did an interview with him. And he told me then, he goes, skills is like mafia. Once you're in, you're in. Yeah. You might leave for a bit, but
you'll come back to the familia.
Your phone is always on, and there will be a time you get that call. And it's so funny because, again, our welder, he is trying to make Team Canada right now.
Yeah.
And
I saw him this morning.
Right.
Yeah.
And his trainer is here. And his trainer is an alumni who's also a national medalist who you interviewed when you were in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
And I said to Evan yesterday on the bus, I said, did you ever really think you'd be back? He goes, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But he goes, it's the best thing
You
ever.
silly duck. We knew you'd be back.
Yeah, come on now. Especially your UA. Come on. You were coming back. You're two in there, whether you realize it or not. But yeah, just being any small part of that, it's just, again, it's shocking that it gets to be, and this world is not for everyone. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You
and
either
it
get
is a little
skills or you
crazy.
don't.
It's kind of crazy and hectic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But if you are one of those people that this is for you, what you get out of this week just makes all the chaos completely worth it.
I don't understand, and maybe I just don't get it because I'm simple. But how can someone come to a national skills event and not come out of these 3 days just invigorated with energy? You know, like I tell people all the time, like as a tradesperson, even the welders I just run into, like some manufacturing shop, they're happy with their welding job. They're not thinking big picture. They're already done. But I say to them still, if at some point in your life you have the opportunity to attend a national skills competition, do it. It'll even give you pride in your own trade that you didn't even know you had. Right?
No, and honestly, my dad, he was a welder at the same shop for almost 30 years. And then he's been teaching the welding technology engineering program at a community college in New Brunswick for almost 20 years now. And I don't think he understood his, I don't want to say worth, but the career. You know, he even had that stigma about his own trade.
Yeah.
I
struggled with that too.
Until I started in this job.
I called myself just a welder for a long time.
Yeah, and you know, so when I first started, I'm because I really took an interest. I went through all the shops, all the programs at all the community colleges. Take me through. I want to understand. I used to have really long stiletto nails, and I would do electrical. I would take electrical lessons. I would do masonry, car painting. Because again, I really want to know. And again, I remember going through a shop, and he's explaining to me, why did you send me to university? I would have loved this program. And you know, I'll never forget the look on his face. And it's, but even that, I think I've been able to help him because I value the career so much. And you know, the stigma that a lot of the generations have, you know, don't. You know,
do you feel that stigma's breaking down? Do you think it's getting better?
I do.
Like we're talking New Brunswick, like in your province. Yeah.
I do, because first of all, I don't think people have a choice. You know, we're here.
Work is work. You need to work.
Well, not just that. I mean, all over the country and really in New Brunswick, we're hearing about shortages, whether it's labor shortages, whether it's construction and the housing shortage. But even, you know, as important as construction is, when we're talking about that and massive shortages, well, we still need to make sure we're taking care of manufacturing and transportation, because construction can't do their job also without those industries. Yeah. So that's all really important to me, and it's just continuing to go at it. And again, the more we have these shortages and talk about them, whether you want to believe there's a stigma or not, or that these jobs, you know,
the jobs are still there.
But it's also kind of keeping society. Well, because it's keeping, you know, things from moving on, and people are seeing that.
Right.
And, you know, it's hard to not value a job that when you need a house built, you need some work done and you can't find anyone.
Yeah. And you want your kids, even as a parent, to have a good job that has pension and benefits and they're secured. You don't want them out like the big IT of the 80s and 90s. When I was coming up, everyone had to go into computer science. That was the future. Meanwhile, 90% of my friends that went into computer science have never worked in computer science because A, the jobs paid garbage, and B, they weren't that many. It was like a false narrative, right? Yeah.
No, and anyways, I don't know where I was going. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. That's the ADHD kicking in there. But no, I agree. And again, any part that I can have in just helping just educate people, right? Like we have a mom here. I don't want to out her too bad, but she actually works for one of the school districts in the province. And so her son's here competing. So she decided to, you know, come along, high school student. And she goes, he's a really smart student. And when he told me he wanted to go to a community college and take this, she goes, as a mom, my heart was broke.
Yeah.
You know, just that automatic.
Like, oh, you're settling or something.
Right. And then she goes, and then I come here and see all this. And she goes, no, I can't wait for his future.
Yeah.
So again, to see it even in real time. And now that is, again, somebody that works at a district in the province of New Brunswick is going to go back. he now has this
Mhm.
completely new view. Those people talk,
Yeah.
you know,
They
and
spread the word.
they do, and it's important.
Hmm.
It's really important.
What's some of the obstacles you've had to face, coming into this ED role? Like small team, no sponsors, limited budget. Like, I mean, what were a couple things on your list right away? Like, I gotta fix this.
Best kept secret. No one knew we were there.
Yeah.
No one knew
Just like marketing, really.
marketing. No one knew we existed. Provincially, nationally, internationally. The thought prior to me starting was we're not going to tell kids, even the few presentations that we would do in school, we're not going to tell kids about world skills because we never make it. Where when I came in, it's, well, maybe we're not making it because they don't know they can.
Yeah, like, I mean, you got to set the bar, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, and again, having that marketing background, and our office had been in Fredericton, which is, our province's capital,
Mhm.
and we were in a government building. We
So
didn't,
you're kind of not even in sight.
not in sight. And so the first thing I did was put our office directly in one of the bigger community colleges in the province.
Yeah.
So,
Is that NBCC Moncton?
it is NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're still there.
Yeah.
And
I love that college.
It's,
And I love the guys there too.
yeah. And again, whether it's NBCC, CCMB, they have both been so supportive in this.
Yeah.
We work so much with our colleges. We couldn't have moved to the big model without their support
Right.
in the slightest. But yeah, it just takes everyone, and being able to pull all those pieces together and almost help them realize what they have and how good they are.
Mhm.
I love it.
Now, with your 42 competitors that you have here,
45,
45 competitors, sorry,
42 areas.
Okay, 45 competitors, 42 areas. Is anybody here on a world's rip? Like, is anyone doing a second time? Is anyone on a golds? I mean, they're all golds provincially, but.
So, again, Josh Richard,
Mhm.
our welder, post-secondary welder,
He's got
UA 213.
Yeah.
He has his sights set. And again, he's and the partners. He would not have been able to have the training he has had without their support.
Yeah.
That has been huge. So he's here trying. Our robotics team has let me know that they are actually trying.
They're in the running.
Which,
Good,
again,
good.
I was not expecting. They are a secondary team. They're 2 high school students. I would never, but I like to hear it. I like to hear that.
Go for it.
But that's also, as we grow and as people in the province know, the provincial competitions are now getting more competitive.
Yeah.
Which then
The bar keeps creeping up.
Exactly.
Right?
So our national team naturally is getting a little bit more competitive. And while we only brought home 3 medals last year, I think we had, and if I'm remembering correctly, we had at least 10 others that were just within points of either.
The points are tight.
So tight.
So tight.
So
like
tight.
the littlest error, and there's 11 people tied for 5th.
Right.
Right? And you're like, oh, man.
So we have, I say, those 2 that I know specifically are trying. Everyone else, if they do, they, haven't maybe.
That'd be great, but it's an experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say we have a Alice, our car painter. She won a gold medal, her first skills national competition. She came back last year, didn't place.
Oh, wow.
So she is back
Now
with
she's
a
gunning for it.
vengeance, to say the least. Alice is here to take names. So I say keep an eye on her.
Yeah, good.
And who else? But yeah, like William Taylor, he's here in carpentry. His second time,
Second time, okay.
Last year.
One time, like, in my experience, if you can get that 2-run person, it makes such a difference because they know what they're getting into.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just the nerves and again, just
Man, I
the
talked to those welders
timing.
this morning there. I said to one of the NTCs there, I'm like, you can smell the fear in this room. I'm like, I'm not going to say that to them, but oh, man, their eyes all look like little caged deers. It's like, I told them all, like, relax, take a breath, drink some water.
And even like this is the first year we're competing in a bunch of IT areas.
Oh, fun.
So it was so funny, not funny. Back when Skills was getting set up in New Brunswick, our premier at the time was actually pulling shops out of high schools because we were going
it's happening here in Saskatchewan right now.
We were going to be a tech province.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of turnaround. But again, the funny part is we never competed in tech here at Nationals.
Weird. How'd that work?
we never did. So this year I think we have at least 8 competitors who are competing in tech areas,
Nice.
all brand new to us. We're competing in car painting and auto body at the high school level. Those programs aren't even offered in schools, right?
So
In
how
New
does
Brunswick.
that's wild.
Again, industry partnerships.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because again, for them, if they can start working with these students earlier and training them, it's better for everyone too, if the interest is there, right? So again, it's making that connection. It's just, again, finding a passion for all this that I had no idea I would ever have in the slightest. Again, it was very much going to be a 1-year contract for me.
Yeah.
And
What would you have done?
probably go back to sports.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Did you get this rush of love and energy in the sports world? Were you feeling it? Because, I mean, that's also very desirable, fun jobs. And you're working with young people in careers, right? Like,
I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But
do you got this?
yeah.
Look at this. You got
no.
200 kids walking by. This is amazing.
Yeah, this is everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't compare.
Yeah.
It doesn't compare. And again, bringing the team here, even just the team that we have here. One thing we didn't talk about, we had at least 10 kids on our team who had never been on a flight before.
Oh my God.
Right? So
how did that go? All good?
well, I mean, we got here.
A couple
We
out of
got
hands?
here.
No.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Even just giving that experience, right? It's
Just outside the border, break those barriers.
Yeah, and then you see a bunch of students who didn't know each other, and then we're one and a half day in, and they're all bonding and making that team, and just that in itself, especially like every team here wants every single one of their competitors on the podium because they're just
100%.
fabulous.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
all fabulous.
Yeah.
But no, that being able again to create any of that for these
Yeah.
students is just the best thing in the world. Like I truly feel blessed that I get to do this, even on the hard days.
Even on the hard
Even
days.
on the
yeah.
hard days.
Now, what about, like your wish list? Because I'm sure you got some things you want to do and you got projects in mind. What do you got on the wish list coming up next?
There's some stuff I want to do.
Top secret, apparently.
No. Again, background in sports, not too top secret. Well,
Mhm.
I still want to train more, and
Yeah.
training's important to me, not just provincially, but nationally.
Yeah.
Interprovincial training, bringing more opportunity to our
The
competitors.
U.S. does so much of that with
much.
their competitors.
So, I guess next project is how I create more of that for New Brunswick, right?
Yeah.
We are the only bilingual province.
yeah.
That is our superpower. We don't
Yeah.
always use it as our superpower.
But you can go anywhere.
You
Yeah.
can. And even on that note, because we're the only bilingual province, it makes it easier for the rest of the country to come to us.
Yeah.
So again, projects in the works on how
I would love to see how you do that because when we went to Skills with Adam, we sent him to competitions in the U.S., sent him to competitions in other provinces because you need to start doing that. Like you can't just sit in your booth and think that that's enough to win,
No.
right?
And even on a winning scale, just again, the opportunity.
Yeah.
If we all provincially start doing that, what does that then do for our industry? What does that
Yeah.
then do for mobility?
Yeah.
And
confidence of the kids to know that they
Right.
can handle it anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and again, so next project is how I do more of that in New Brunswick, how I create more opportunity not only for our students in our province, but create more opportunity for everyone in the country to come to New Brunswick and
Yeah.
get a little bit of that.
You want to show off that province so bad.
Oh, I love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I love it, but it's also, again, I think because for my whole childhood, that rhetoric I heard, and now this is, I feel like my service to everyone else to, get the message
I
out
feel
that it's,
I feel yeah. I'm in Saskatchewan, right? And Saskatchewan honestly gets badmouthed quite a bit.
I know, I
across
feel like,
Canada.
well, I was going to say, I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
we're like at ups and ends, but there's a lot of the same, not, messaging or just,
ugly speak, right?
yeah.
But now, literally in the last 3 days, all these people coming here and seeing the city and the facilities. All I've heard people say is like, I had no idea Regina was so pretty. I had no idea Regina was so green. Had so much, the beautiful lake downtown, the beautiful downtown area, this amazing facility. I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you guys that it's awesome here for a long time. Yeah, yeah.
Well, on that note, funny but not funny because the math is not mathing because in my head I'm still only 25. But my first time here was 20 years ago for Canada Games.
Wow.
For the Summer Games.
Summer Games, yeah.
I was on New Brunswick basketball team and our Canada Games was in Regina. And I remember coming
20
here.
years ago.
Yeah,
Oh my
again,
God.
in my head I'm only 25, so the math ain't mathing. But I remember the same thing. Our team, we were, oh, this Canada Games was here.
The
why did we have to go
prairies,
to Regina?
Yeah.
And we came here and everyone had an excellent time. Like you said, it is a beautiful city and not somewhere that, many people might just travel to or
It's not on the
vacation
vacation
to.
map, yeah.
Right. So it's a really neat way for people to come here. And again, now they might come back on vacation, come visit you.
That was going to be my last question. What's your experience with this skill so far? How are you finding this venue, the organization? How's it been going so
It's
far?
great. I mean, it's just getting started.
Yeah.
But it's great. I love the venue. It is massive.
Huge, yeah.
Every time my board member is like, we need to bring this back to New Brunswick. I'm like, again, we don't have anything in New Brunswick. It's not happy to build it with you.
Yeah.
I will gladly.
And you don't want to have the rain apocalypse of Halifax.
Right. Like, I'm more than happy to build this for you, sir. But again, this is a massive event. And I don't think people realize, right? Again, when I'm saying
they
this
have
is
380,000 square foot of just competition space.
I know. Insane.
That's insane. Yeah.
And it's this competition is not going to stop growing.
Yeah.
If anything, I know my team's just going to keep growing. Until New Brunswick is in every single category, I am not going to stop. But it's just going to keep growing. And again, the need is there. The want is there, whether we're talking about the shortage and industry needing to come here because they need to recruit and get these people, or whether it's the students coming to visit, because again, some of that stigma is being relieved and just people more interested in learning about the education and the careers. This isn't going to stop growing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where this is in another 10 years.
Yeah, I'm very interested too to see, at what level do we take it to, especially since Canada is growing and is strengthening. And, the countries that we normally competed against that were always stronger and bigger are not as big or as strong. It's like we're catching up, right? So it's like, you guys all watch out. We're coming. We're coming. Yeah.
And again, that's even, I feel that provincially, right?
Yeah.
We're coming.
Yeah.
We are coming.
Yeah. So watch out.
Yeah. Once we again once everyone knows that this is an opportunity, and especially that international is an opportunity, we will not be making Team Canada by accident anymore.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
Awesome. Last question.
Yeah.
For any of these competitors that are coming to, the people listening that are just learning about skills, thinking about getting into skills, what's a piece of advice that you would give a young competitor that wants to get into skills?
Do it. Don't think twice about it. Don't hesitate. Doesn't matter what area, just do it. I've gone to, I don't know how many national basketball tournaments. I did the Canada Games thing. I did the university basketball. It was great. Don't get me wrong. But if I get to be 16 again, I would purely just be playing sports at school, and this would be everything.
What trade would you pick?
Oh my God.
What trade? Well, would you knowing what you know now? What would you do?
It'd be a hard toss-up between welding or millwright.
You love welders so much.
I do.
You just got such. Is it because of your dad?
No, I just love. So
we're just the best.
Probably shouldn't say this, but especially during COVID, when again work was a little bit slower, everything, I was in the shop a lot. I genuinely wanted to learn how to weld.
Yeah.
So I do weld
So you
a
are
little
pretty
bit.
good?
We have a welder at home. And I joke often. I'm like, if I ever get sick of this, you guys will see me on the competition floor. Like,
good. Yeah,
if it ever happens,
I mean,
I
you
will.
are a little over 25 now.
That's okay. I mean, I don't have to make it to Worlds. I can just do provincials and nationals. But no, I probably would. I love it. And I think it's the diversity in both the trades, to be honest. And I think you guys interviewed Calvin Getchell when you were in New Brunswick. And he has a red seal in both of them. He's a national medalist in both of them.
Yeah.
And I think
his accent is adorable.
Little St. Stephen boy.
Yeah, I love it.
Little St. Stephen boy. But even him, when he was going through school, he graduated great marks, and he was told that he was throwing his life away. And I have never seen anyone be more successful.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
I don't know if there's anyone in the country that has more national medals than Calvin Getchell does, right?
That's amazing.
And the success that he's had. So I think seeing the different things that he's been able to do too, it's really interesting, and I find it fascinating.
That's
and
awesome.
I just love it. I love it. And I'm not just sucking up to you because it's well like
I get it. I get it because I love welders too.
Yeah, he's great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the show with us. Thank you for being a part of the ED Skills Canada special. And as always, it's great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And for all the people, make sure you keep following this entire skills series. We're going to do about, I think, 11 interviews between today and tomorrow. So they're getting the juice out of me. And then we got a few online. But this whole series will be about 14 interviews, and you're going to want to catch them all. So keep downloading, sharing, and liking our podcast, and we appreciate it, everything. Catch you at the next one.
We hope you enjoyed the show.